Oh dear, virtue signallers are out en masse.
No one seems to notice me. Isn't it a sin? What a crazy world we're living in. How's your father? Brown bread.
Well, it seems I've managed to upset some people once again. Not that I'm particularly concerned about that. I see all the virtue signallers are out and jumping to the defence of our police heroes and the magnificent way that they do their job. I've got to say that the people that are making those comments, if you live in London, you clearly have never been out in the streets in the last 5 years. And if you don't live in London, then quite frankly, you haven't got the first idea of what it's like here. And the reason that so many people were disgusted in the way that the Met Police handled that situation last Saturday night is because of the gaping holes that there are in the way that the Met is run. I'm not saying I was angry, so I did probably generalise. I'm not saying for a minute that all of them are bad, but you need to understand that behaviour came in a week where one of their own had been arrested and charged with a dreadful kidnap and murder. That situation came in a week where one of their own had been released after spending 6 months in prison, only 6 months in prison, for huge amounts of child porn found on his personal computer and for persuading a 13-year-old girl to perform a sex act on him. Doesn't leave much to the imagination as far as I'm concerned. That dreadful behaviour came in a week when one of their own officers was suspended after sending videos of himself in uniform playing with himself, shall we say. And that situation came in a week where several of their officers were suspended after sending inappropriate photographs and messages from the scene of the discovery of Sarah Everard's body. So it makes me grin a little bit when people en masse can talk about our hero police when they actually don't know anything about what's going on here in London. Cressida Dick has been an unqualified disaster. This is not the first scandal that she's been involved in. She headed up Operation Midland, which persecuted Leon Britton and various other politicians before it was discovered that the whole thing was a hoax. That's just one of the situations. It comes on the back of people keep on moaning about Priti Patel and maybe she has got a case to answer here. But people don't understand that the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police is Sadiq Khan, and another useless article, a man who has wasted £10 billion. That's not what it cost to put the cycle lanes in, but after the court ruled that they were illegal and they've got to be torn up by the looks of it, the total cost will be £10 billion. This is a man who gave £500 million, £500,000 to Black Lives Matter. This is a man that gave £100,000 to a group of left-wing idiots to help them decide which of our fantastic statues that they're going to tear down. So, yes, there is a lot of anger here where the Metropolitan Police is concerned, and quite rightly so. Yes, we're in a lockdown. No, the laws are not very clear as to whether or not that actually prohibits protest. Yes, the vigil was hijacked by left-wing activists who perhaps knew that because it was going to be women there, that the police were likely to show up heavy-handed. Because let's be honest, go back and have a look at the Metropolitan Police handling the Black Lives Matter protest back in November, where there was a few hefty-looking men about. They weren't so keen to get involved then, was they? Nor was they that keen to get involved when Extinction Rebellion were actually closing down the streets of London. So, no, there is no excuse. I'm not blaming the officers per se, but Cressida Dick and the top line of command of the Metropolitan Police all need to go. They're useless. They didn't handle that situation well, and as a result, destroyed what would have been a meaningful protest by some of those people, and empowered a nonsense demonstration by a group of people that were there purely because they knew how appallingly the police were going to behave. So by all means, carry on with your virtue signalling and how great our Metropolitan Police Force is. But for millions upon millions of people that actually do still live here in London, we don't share your view.
How's your father?